Okay, so let's go ahead and get settled. I invite you to find a comfortable seated position. And if you have a dog on your mat, I invite you to move him out of the way. Sorry, buddy. Here, you want to sit next to me? Stand up there. Stand up there. You can sit next to me. That would be lovely. You can be our doga. There we go. Good boy. I love you. All right. Come to a nice, comfortable seat in your body, whatever that looks like this morning, remembering, as always, that you have so many options, right? So you can sit with your legs folded. You can sit on a pillow or on a yoga block. You can have your legs out, whatever feels best. And then I'd like you to come to stillness. Once you've found that comfortable seat, bring your hands to your heart and close your eyes. And just begin to cultivate some nice deep belly breathing. And as we begin to slow down into the space of our practice, notice your body slowing down as well. Let those breaths be long and slow and smooth. And then we will begin to bring in a little bit of movement with that breath. So on your inhale, feel your spine roll out nice and long, sit tall on the mat, and exhale to soften a little bit. And then inhale to lift, to lengthen, and exhale to soften. Just feeling that beautiful connection of breath and movement. Bring your hands out to float in front of you and just start gently rubbing one palm against the other. Nice and slowly. The same level of pressure and touch that you might use if you were soothing a child or a loved one, or even your beloved dog or cat. Did you hear your name? Yes, you are a dog. And then take this movement and bring it to stillness. Bring your fingertips to the top of your forehead on either side. And with that same gentle pressure and that same slow touch, just trace around the edges of your face. A soothing gesture. And then from here, we'll do one more havening movement. This is a technique that comes out of neuroscience. It helps stimulate the body in terms of causing it to relax. Even when we are the ones offering the comforting touch, our bodies respond to that comforting touch by relaxing. So bring your hands to the outsides of your upper arms at your shoulders and just run your hands down to your elbows. Top of the shoulders, down to the elbows. And we're using that same level of pressure, that soothing touch, and that same speed. So not too slow, not too fast. And then I invite you during this little movement meditation to switch back and forth between these movements. So maybe gently soothing the arms, maybe soothing the face, and you can always move your hands around a little bit here. It can sometimes feel nice to go across the cheekbones as well, or to go back to that soothing pattern with the hands. Just winding down from Friday. Sometimes when we are practicing havening movements, it can feel good to say a few affirming words to ourselves. Safe, calm, peaceful, hopeful. Safe, calm, peaceful, hopeful. And then from here, let's release our hands down by our sides. Inhale, sweep your fingertips out to the sides, all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands through heart center. And let's feel a couple more sun breaths. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling, hands through heart center as we open. Just draw in some of the beautiful summer sunlight. Exhaling through. And one more time. And exhale, both hands down to the mat. Walk your hands forward and sweep your feet around behind you. Let's meet in tabletop. As always, we're going to begin by moving our spines. So on your inhale, roll your heart forward and tip your tailbone to the sky. And then exhale, coil your belly in and drop the crown of your head. Inhaling, rolling open. And exhale to coil. Now, as always in this space, you can stay with cat-cow if this feels good. You're also welcome to begin exploring with some free-form spinal movement. So if it would feel good to shift forward or back or side to side, begin to honor those little nudges within your body. Begin to explore your space. And then find your way back to that neutral spine in tabletop. Draw your knees a little further together underneath your body so that you're centered. On your inhale, extend your right leg long behind you and begin to press into your right heel. So finding our usual leg stretch, just getting some space into that calf. Yeah, I didn't think you'd like that, buddy. Remember, as always, you can sustain the stretch or find a gentle rolling motion into and out of it. And then let's switch it out. Lower that right knee down. Extend your left leg long. Lower the tip of your toe to the mat and begin to press into your left heel, stretching out your calf. And then lower your left knee back down to the mat. So from here, we're going to meet in forward fold. You can step your feet forward or walk your hands back to make your way there, whatever works better in your body. Once you have arrived, as always, try to take a moment to just surrender into this space, to soften, to find some ease, if that would feel good. Remember that you can always find a rocking motion, just shifting from side to side. If it would feel good to find your elbows and dangling ragdoll, you can do that. Try to breathe out anything from the week that might be lingering, just letting it roll out into the mat and away from you. Come to stillness at the center. Bend your knees, exhale, roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale, rise and open. And exhale, draw your hands to heart center. Release your hands down by your sides and make your way to the top of your mat. So we're going to set up our first Tadasana of practice. Now, as always, in our mountain pose in Tadasana, we want to let that first one be very conscious. So think about rooting your feet, look down, make sure that they are parallel and that they're about 1.5 fists distance, maybe 2 fists wide. So not a hugely wide stance, just a very stable one. Bring your hands to your belly, give your belly some love. And then find those wonderful strong belly muscles just underneath your navel and draw them in and up. Tailbone's going to lengthen. Shoulders roll back and down and palms face forward. On your inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, bowing to that light within us, folding forward. Bend your knees enough that your fingertips can touch the mat or a set of blocks. On your inhale, step your right foot back to lunge, and we'll lower that right knee down. So let's set up for a nice, safe, flowing lunge. As always, we want to make sure that left knee is directly over the left ankle. And position your blocks if you're using them so that they help you feel stable and supported in your lunge. Inhale to look forward. Exhale, scoop your belly in, shift back, lengthening the back of that left leg. And then inhaling forward to lunge. Exhaling, shifting back. And we just remember to try to unite breath and movement so that we're moving on our breath. Let this next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Tabletop. Step your blocks wide if you're using them. In your tabletop, we're going to find movement again. So your choice here, you can move your cat-cow, rolling open and then exhaling to coil, or you can find a little more free-form spinal movement. Again, it really is just whatever feels better in your body, and that's going to vary from day to day based on our activity levels and sometimes the weather, and sometimes variables we have no idea about. And then make your way into stillness. Coming to a neutral spine, we'll step our hands one handspan forward and shift our shoulders over our wrists. So we find ourselves in half plank, and we want our knees, hips, and shoulders to be in one long line here. Press the earth away and feel how buoyant your shoulders are. Now we want to keep all of that strong core and those buoyant shoulders as we bend our elbows and float our way all the way down to the earth. Once you touch down, walk your toes back. Let's bring our fingertips wide. They can come off the mat. Begin to roll one shoulder and then the other through creative cobra. And then return your hands to beneath your shoulders. Press it back. Find tabletop, or if you have a downward facing dog in your practice, you're welcome to take down dog here. Wherever you've landed, find movement. So that might be cat-cow or freeform spinal movement. If you have found yourself in downward facing dog, walk out your dog. Bend one knee and then the other. Remember, this is all about creating ease and finding movement in our bodies. Most of us are spending too much time seated right now, so finding movement is really important. Come to stillness. On your inhale, look forward. On your exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Now, if your back knee is lifted, please lower it and set up your blocks again if you're using them. We just want to make sure that that lunge is nice and safe. So as always, check to make sure your right knee is directly over your right ankle. Inhale to look forward. Exhale, shift back. Begin to let that right leg stretch. And then inhale forward. And just one little note, you can always walk your hands forward and back if that helps you get a little more length into that right leg. Even if there are blocks under your hand, just carry them with you. Let your next inhale bring you forward to lunge. Turn your left toes under and lift your back knee. Look forward and step together to fold. Find some ease right here. Try to surrender into this space. Try to let your body melt. Bend your knees. Exhale, roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale to rise and open. Exhale to draw your hands to heart center. Now check in with your Tadasana, and if you notice that it's shifted, no problem, just reset. So we root those feet, we engage our core, shoulders roll back and down, standing tall, proud, grounded. On your inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway rise, Ardha Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana. Hands come to your shins or your thighs. Exhale to fold forward. Let's feel that again. Inhaling, halfway rise. Use this to create length along your spine, so press your hips away. Exhale to fold. One more time, halfway rise. And exhale, bend your knees, plant your fingertips. Inhale to step your left foot back to lunge and lower your left knee down to the mat. So let's find that same flowing lunge, but take it a little deeper this time. On your exhale, scoop back, let your right toes rise this time, create a little more length. Inhale, forward to lunge, melt your left hip toward the earth. Exhaling, shifting back. And again, you can walk those blocks with you if you need to, or walk your hands if you're not using blocks. Let your next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Tabletop. Set your blocks to the side if you're using them. Now from here, let's do a little bit of strengthening. Walk your hands, one hand span forward and shift your shoulders over your wrists. So again, let's find that strong half plank. Core is engaged, press the earth away. On your next exhale, bend your elbows just 1 inch. And then inhale to press all the way back up. Exhale, 2 inches, a little bit of a deeper bend in that elbow. Inhaling back up. So now the tough one, exhale, bend your elbows, come to about halfway and hover. Hug your elbows towards your sides and come all the way down to the earth. Excellent. Walk your toes back, create space, and let's bring fingertips wide. Again, let's roll it out, big shoulder circles. Just going for a nice full range of motion here. Return your hands to beneath your shoulders. Press it back, tabletop or downward facing dog, yogi's choice. On your inhale, look forward. Exhale to step your left foot forward between your hands. If you were using blocks, go ahead and grab them. Get set up for that nice safe lunge. Inhale to look forward and exhale, shift back. Left toes rise this time. So again, we're getting that deeper stretch. Inhaling forward to lunge. And exhale, shift it back, left toes rise. Just following our breath here, nice and slow and smooth. Remember, you can walk your hands forward and back if that helps you get a deep stretch. Let your next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Turn your right toes under to lift your back knee. Look forward and step together. And fold. Just soften. Find a little ease right here. Come to stillness at the center. Bend your knees. Exhale. Roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale. Rise and open. Exhale. Hands to heart center. Reset your mountain pose or Tadasana if you need to. Engage your belly, feel open, feel strong, and then inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway rise, Ardha Uttanasana. Using that contact point, we're going to press our hips away and roll our hearts forward, and we'll sustain here for a couple breaths. Just creating some space along the back of the body. And just remember, we're going for a flat back here. Sometimes it can help to imagine that you're balancing something there. And release, bend your knees, fingertips come down to the mat. Inhale to step your right foot back to lunge. Lower that right knee all the way down to the mat and walk your hands up your left knee. So let's begin to cultivate an open hip. If you find that this is unstable, feel free to bring a block to that right hip so that you have something to touch down with. On your inhale, lift up and out of your lunge. Exhale, sink deeply in your left knee to melt your right hip. Inhaling, lifting up and out. Exhaling to sink. And just notice what your upper body is doing, right? We want to keep our upper bodies fairly still here. This movement is really all about our lower bodies. On your next exhale, both hands come down to the mat. Knees together. Now this time, let's keep our hips high as we walk our hands forward and begin to melt our hearts toward the mat. This is puppy dog pose or anahatasana. Now, if you're noticing that this shoulder stretch is too much with your arms extended, you can bend your elbows and come down to the mat, and you'll still get that shoulder stretch, but there won't be quite as much weight in it. However, of course, if that feels good, feel free to leave your arms lifted. And then roll your way all the way out and down. Come on down to the yoga mat. Walk your toes back, create space. And we're going to set up for Sphinx pose here. So in Sphinx pose, we want to bring our elbows to directly beneath our shoulders, and then our forearms will come directly out from the elbows. Fingers spread, press your palms to the earth. The visualization that I like to use here is like little Lego dude arms, so lots of right angles in the body. Press into your forearms and your palms and notice what happens to your shoulders, right? So if we relax, we tend to slump and the shoulder blades draw together at the back. If we press, our shoulders strengthen and our shoulder blades move away from each other. Keep that as you turn your toes under. So here's a little core challenge for you. On your exhale, begin to roll your way up. So draw your navel toward your spine, hips floating up, quads, knees, forearm plank. Try to breathe here, holding this space for just a moment. And remember, if it gets to be too much, you can just come down to the mat. And then with control, let's roll our way back down. Knees, quads, hips. Make a pillow with your hands, rest your head. Rock your hips from side to side. You can add windshield wiper legs if that would feel good. Just letting it go. And then return your hands to beneath your shoulders, press back, tabletop or downward facing dog. Little pause for movement right here, just continuing to stretch it out. As we move, as our bodies warm up, we notice different spaces that need ease. So let's just introduce a little bit of that feeling. And then come to stillness. Inhale to look forward. Exhale to step your right foot forward between your hands. Walk your hands up your right knee. Remember that if you feel unstable here, you can just add a block right by that left hip. Bring your hands to your knee. Let's find that hip pulse. Inhale, lift up and out. Exhale, sink deeply into your right knee, stretching that left hip flexor. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling to soften. On this next exhale, both hands can come down to the mat. Turn your left toes under and lift your back knee. Look forward and step together. And soften. Finding that brief pause, that beautiful moment of surrender. Come to stillness. Bend your knees, exhale, roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, hands to heart center. Release your hands down. Check in one more time with Tadasana. Last time through our opening salutation, our opening namaskar. Inhale to rise. Exhale, bowing to that light within. Now, we're going to add a little bit of a twist to our halfway rise. We're going to do a little twisting action here. So if you'd like to, you're welcome to bring a block to the top of the mat to plant your hand on. So once we come to our halfway risen position, either with that block or without it, let's walk our hands over to that left side. So from here, press your right hip away. Get a nice deep stretch in your back on that side. And then come to center. And we'll bring that block over to the right side and press our left hips away. And again, just breathing into that stretch. And notice if this is too much, right? If it is, you can always bring that block in to make the stretch a little bit narrower. Just depends on what feels good in your body today. And come back to center. Bend your knees enough that your fingertips can touch down. Inhale to step your left foot back to lunge and lower your left knee down to the mat. So let's get a little bit more into those hips this morning. What I'd like you to do is wiggle your right foot wide and bring your hands to the inside. So we're really stretching out those hips. Now there are a couple of options here. So you can have your hands on blocks and your arms extended. You can plant your hands on the mat and have them extended. Now one other option here as we begin to stretch that hip is to bend our elbows. So we'll keep our core engaged as we just begin to sink even deeper into that hip stretch. If it's open to you, you're welcome to find a block and bring your forearms to that block. Now, if you've chosen this option, hug your right knee toward your right shoulder. And that'll help keep that stretch nice and centered. This is one of the steps on the way to lizard pose. I don't know if it looks particularly like a lizard, but we'll go with it. And then find your way out, walking your hands back up. From here, tabletop. Knees coming to beneath the hips, wrists are under the shoulders. Let's walk our hands one full handstand forward. Shoulders over the wrists, nice and strong through the core. Turn your toes under and lift your knees if you're going for full plank. If this is too much, you can always keep them down to the mat. Now with control, bend your elbows and float your way all the way down to the earth. Walk your toes back, create space. And let's bring fingertips wide this last time. Creative cobra, big, beautiful circles. Remembering, of course, that clicking noises are normal. Return your hands to beneath your shoulders. Press back, finding your way into tabletop or downward facing dog. Inhale to look forward. Exhale to step your left foot forward between your hands. Now, same thing as last time. Let's wiggle that left foot wide and bring our hands to the inside. So we're getting a deeper stretch in that hip. And remember, you have the same choices. So you can have your arms extended and your hands on blocks, just really sinking into that right hip. You're also welcome to set the blocks to the sides and plant your hands to the earth. Now, if it's open to you, you can begin to bend your elbows, sinking a little deeper into that stretch. And then, of course, the furthest expression I'm going to take us to today is to place a block crossways in front of us and maybe come down to our forearms. Hug your left knee toward your left shoulder and just breathe. Just letting that right hip continue to open toward the earth. Letting that left hip continue to open. And from here, we'll find our way out. So walk your hands up. Set your block to the side. If you were using it, you can heel toe that left foot back towards center so that we can place our hands evenly. Turn your right toes under to lift your back knee. Look forward and step together. Soften, find a little ease. Come back to stillness at the center. Bend your knees, exhale, roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, hands to heart center. Release your hands down by your sides, and let's make our way all the way down onto the mat for core cultivation. So let's start all the way down on our backs. Roll down to the earth. Draw your knees in and find some rocking motions. Just soothing your lower back. So this side to side movement can feel good. Depending on where you're feeling sore, it might also be nice to draw a big circle with your knees. That can put a lot more massage, a lot more therapeutic pressure into our lower backs and across that broad section of bone along the backs of our hips. That can feel really nice. Just depends on what feels better in your body. And then we'll come to stillness. Relax your arms down to the mat, let your palms face down, and we're just gonna let our knees open to wherever a comfortable space is. Let's do a little hip opening work while we're here. Draw your navel toward your spine so you can feel your lower back touching the earth. And then on that right side, let's begin to draw big circles with that right knee. So we're just finding big, beautiful hip mandalas here, tracing circles in the air. Go nice and slowly. And just check in to make sure your core is still engaged. That'll help protect the muscles in your lower back. Make sure to draw those circles in the other direction. And then we'll draw that right knee back in, bringing it to stillness. Let's feel that same thing on the other side. So we're going to begin drawing big circles with that left knee. And remember, we go slow here. I know it can be tempting to kind of fling the leg around to use a little bit of momentum, but remember that we get a better stretch and we develop more strength and control when we go more slowly. Just keep checking in on your core. Anytime we're doing more than one thing at the same time, our body tends to let go of whatever's difficult. And then make sure to draw those circles in the other direction. And come back to center. So from here, let's let our toes touch and open our knees out to either side. So we're making a nice big diamond with our legs. Let your toes float a little bit to make an even larger diamond space. Sweep your fingertips up in front of you, interlace everything but your index finger. This is called Agni Mudra. Exhale to point your index fingers through that diamond. Your shoulders may come up off the mat. Inhale back down to earth. Exhaling, pointing away. Inhaling back down. So this is kind of the yoga crunch. And remember, of course, the more crunching you do here, the more benefit there is in terms of strength development. So you can really tailor this one to how you're feeling today. And on this next inhale, let's come all the way back down to earth. Draw your knees in and rock from side to side. Let it go. All right, last core cultivator. Let's work on our lower abdominals a bit. So we're going to shift our knees. They are directly above our hips. So we're thinking about that 90-degree angle. Draw your navel toward your spine. Feel your lower back press into the mat. Now, we want to keep this point of connection, the lower back touching the mat, as long as we are here. So let's begin carefully. Extend your right leg long. So we keep that leg fairly low. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, press away that left heel. Inhale to center. Now, what you'll notice is that your back is going to want to come off the mat. So we want to keep nice and strong and engaged through the core. And if it's too much, don't extend your leg all the way. Extend to the point where you're working, but not where you move past your point of success. If, of course, this is easy for you, you're welcome to transition to extending both legs. But remember, you want to keep your lower back on the earth the entire time. And then let's wrap it up and draw both knees in. Rock from side to side, let it go. Come back to stillness at the center. Rock your way forward to seated and make your way all the way up to standing. You can get there however you would like to. And once we arrive in standing, we're going to find a nice wide stance on the mat. I think it would be nice to do a little bit of Jala Namaskar today, of water salutation. It's a nice soothing way to end the week, and also to feel lots of movement in various parts of our body all at the same time. So start just by closing your eyes and floating your hands at about waist or hip level. You can always imagine that you're standing in the Minakasi or another river, just letting the water flow past your fingertips. From here, let's sweep our fingertips all the way over to the left side, all the way over to the right side. Now inhale and sweep your hands up and overhead. Exhaling down, right, left, up and over, left, right, up and over. So you can focus here on your upper body, on getting a nice little twist into your mid-back. You're also welcome to begin adding in some lower body movement, so we can bend that left knee, bending and sweeping over to the right. Inhale, up and over, legs extended. Exhaling down and back and up and over. And just allow yourself to get lost in this movement for a few breaths. And then allow those movements to become a little smaller. Shifting back to just standing in that river, sweeping your fingertips from side to side. And then come to stillness and release your hands down. Let's set up for our warrior sequence today. So let's turn that right foot to face the short side of the mat and bend your right knee. Your left foot is going to dial out to the side, so we're going to have a 90-degree angle right there. Turn your heart and your upper body to the broad side of the mat, so we're nice and open here. Radiate your arms out to either side, sink deeply in your right knee, and flip your right hand to face the sky. Inhale, sweep up and back, reverse warrior. Exhale, right hand or right elbow to your right knee. Reach your left arm long. Inhaling up and back. And exhale. So remember, in Dancing Warrior, a lot of the goal here involves opening up our side waist, feeling plenty of length. Now, depending on how your body is feeling today, maybe you stay exactly as you are. Maybe you begin to do a slightly deeper hip stretch here, diving your right arm underneath your right knee to Superman your arms, and then inhaling up and back. Exhaling, deeper expression. Inhaling up and back. And remember, totally up to you. It just depends on what feels good in your body today. Find your way back to your warrior two. We'll release those hands down, straighten your right knee, bring your right hand to your hip and press your hip back. Inhale to reach your right arm to the sky. Exhale, fold over. Your right hand is going to plant, maybe on your shin or your thigh, maybe onto a block or even onto the floor. Exhale to lower your left arm down. Inhaling, peeling open, moving into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Exhale, lower that left hand down. Inhale, peeling open. And exhaling to lower. We'll just feel this triangle vinyasa, this little arm flow for a couple more breaths. And then release that left hand down. Bend your right knee. Walk your hands to the broad side of your mat. Feet are now parallel. And we'll just find a wide-legged forward fold here. Inhale to create length along your spine. Exhale to bow. Surrender. Let the crown of your head reach toward the earth. Shift your weight into your heels to get a nice deep stretch along your hamstrings. You can tip your tailbone a little more toward the sky and walk your fingertips forward if that would feel good. And then walk your hands back to center and walk them to your left foot, turning that left foot to face the top of the mat, to face the short side. So that left foot faces the front, that right foot stays dialed out to the side. Exhale, roll your way up, blossoming out into warrior two. So release your arms down, take a moment to settle that pose. So we're gonna sink deeply into the left knee, turn our hearts to that big open side of the mat. And let's find warrior two, arms extending our hands in each direction. Flip your left hand to face the sky. And inhale, up and back. Exhale, sweeping that right arm to the front. Inhaling up and back. Let me just take this opportunity to open, to stretch. Remember that if it would ever feel good to pause and linger, you're welcome to do so. So yogi's choice, stay exactly as you are in this warrior flow, or if you would like, you can begin to dive your left arm underneath your left knee, finding that deeper expression, and then inhaling up and back. Exhaling, diving. And one more time. Find your way back to your warrior two. Relax your arms down and straighten that left knee. Bring your hand to your left hip, press your left hip back. Create length all along that left side. Reach your hand to the sky and exhale, fold it over. Plant your left hand to your shin or your thigh, maybe the block. Lower your right hand down to meet your left. And inhale, peel it open, turn your heart. Exhaling, lowering down. And we'll just follow our breath. Remember, in triangle pose, in Trikonasana, we want to stay plenty of length here between our tailbone and the crown of our head. So really feel a lot of radiating energy, a lot of space being created along your spine here. And on this exhale, bend your left knee. Both hands come down to the mat. Walk to the broad side of the mat. This time, bend your right knee. Walk your fingertips over to that side and press the edge of your left foot away. Inhale to center. Bend your left knee. And inhale to center. So just a little flowing Skandasana. This is so good for our hips and our lower backs. And then find your way all the way back to center. Roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale, rise and open. And hands to heart center. Release your hands down and make your way down to the mat to come to seated. So let's start by finding butterfly pose. Bring the soles of your feet together in front of you. So remember that in butterfly pose, how deep of a hip stretch that is determined by how close our heels are to our bodies. So you can check and see what feels good today. Make sure you're still sitting forward on your sits bones so your heart is lifted. Create plenty of length. On your exhale, begin to fold forward. Now, once you've reached your point of maximum stretch, then surrender. You can close your eyes, bowing over your feet. Coming back into your breath. And just notice if there's anything here that you're holding on to that you do not need. You can let that go. Roll your way all the way back up to seated. Tuck your left heel in toward your body and extend your right leg long. And let's turn our hearts to face that right foot. Inhale, create plenty of length. Exhale, bow forward, folding over that right leg. Wherever your hands land is fine. So it might be the shin, maybe the foot, maybe the thigh. Wherever your hands have landed, let them be your contact point as you inhale to roll your spine out a little longer. Exhale to melt toward that right leg. So rather than trying to grab your right toes, think of it instead as lengthening your spine so you can just place it on your right leg, and that'll get that stretch more where it needs to be. And then walk your hands up. Let's switch it out. Right heel in, left leg extends long. So settle your body and then turn your heart toward that left foot. Inhale, create length. Exhale to fold forward. Again, your fingertips can land wherever it's comfortable. So somewhere on your left leg, maybe all the way to the foot. Inhale, create plenty of length. Exhale, again, visualizing that we're just going to place our upper body directly onto that left leg. Every inhale, creating a little bit more space. And then roll your way all the way back up to seated. We'll extend that right leg as well. So for a wide-legged forward fold when we're seated, the first thing we're going to let go of our expectations around our forehead being on the floor today. So just like in Baddha Konasana, in butterfly pose, we want to create that nice long spine. Begin to walk your fingertips forward as you keep that long spine. And we're going to keep cultivating that same breath pattern. So we lengthen, and then exhale, find a little more space. And then lengthen, and exhale to soften. And we'll find a spot where we stop, like in my body, this is it. And I'm just going to breathe right here, letting my body slowly open. Try to relax any points that are not actively working right now. So if you find you're holding tension somewhere, just take a nice deep breath. And then exhale, let it go. And then find your way back to seated. So from here, let's roll all the way down onto our backs. Draw your knees in to rock from side to side. Massage your lower back on the mat again. And then come to stillness at the center. Open your arms out to either side. Make a nice big T on the earth. Drop your knees off to your right-hand side and turn your head to look to the left. So as always, in this supine twist, in this supported twist, we try to let our bodies completely relax and let the earth hold us in the twist. So just soften into this space. Inhale to find your way back to center. Let's feel that on the other side. Drop your knees off to the left and turn your head to look to the right. Again, just letting the earth hold you. On your inhale, draw your knees back to center. Now, if there is any additional movement, any stretch, any pose, anything at all that you would like to feel before we close our practice for the day, take a moment to honor that request. So it might be another fold or another twist. It might be an inversion or a hip stretch. Whatever would feel really nice, that's what you put right here. And then come back to center, finding your way into stillness and beginning to set up for your Shavasana. So as always, remember that you have options. You can lie flat on your mat with your heels wide, palms facing the sky, relaxing our feet so they just sort of flop outward. If you notice that this feels a little crunchy on your lower back, bend your knees and plant your feet the distance of the mat. Then let your knees fall together at the center so that your bones support each other and you can relax. As always, position your shoulder blades nice and low. Create a nice long neck. Sometimes it can help to go too far back, so we shift our chin toward the sky and then place our head flat on the earth so that we're nice and long through the neck. And of course, you always have the option of taking child's pose or seated meditation, whatever would feel best here. Once you have found your way into stillness, begin to settle your body. Allow all of those points where your body is touching the earth to soften, to become a little bit less distinct. Relax your jaw. Relax your eyes and your forehead. And simply let go and float. Allow your breath to create space within your body. Begin to find some little movements of your fingertips and your toes, just bringing you back to this day, to this time. Point your toes away and reach your arms up overhead. Take a nice deep breath in, full body stretch. Then exhale to draw your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Eventually find your way all the way over to your right side and just curl into the posture of the sleeping child. No tension at all. In this space that you have created, take a moment to set your intention for the weekend ahead of you. Choose now the kind of energy you want to cultivate during this time of rest coming up. And then whenever you are ready and you feel your practice is complete, use your hands to help press yourself up to a nice, easy seated position. Bring your hands to heart center and close your eyes. We will close our practice with a round of Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, a prayer for peace. Inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me this morning. Namaste. Thank you. Let me come up and do all the things. Stop the recording.